Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jay, and today I have the new Sony ZV-1 Mark II. So in this video, I'm going to go over the ZV-1 Mark II. I'm pretty much just going to cover the new features that I think are super exciting and what you need to know about compared to the ZV-1, the original. Now, you're definitely going to want to subscribe because I'm going to come out with a quick start guide for you guys to get you up and running as fast as possible. And I'm also going to come out with a full-fledged beginner's guide that'll be much more lengthy, that'll go through the menu system and all sorts of stuff like that. So stay tuned for those videos coming soon. But again, let's go over the new features on this ZV-1 Mark II. So for starters, the biggest new feature, in my opinion, is this lens. So we have a new Zeiss lens on here, and it's a 18 to 50 millimeter f1.8 to f4 lens. So it's a variable aperture lens, but 18 millimeter is significantly wider than 24 millimeter, as you can see here. 18 millimeter. All right, guys, so here's the view at 18 millimeter with the digital stabilization turned off. So this is as wide of a crop as you can get. So let me turn the active stabilization on just so you can see how it works when I'm walking. All right, so this is the difference. So you can see it is cropped in a little bit more, but we're getting much more effective stabilization. So, you know, it is what it is. So thanks to the 18 millimeter, you could now have the active stabilization on and still have plenty of room for framing your face when you're hand holding and walking like this, which is really the biggest advantage to the ZV-1 Mark II, in my opinion, is this new lens. So again, with that wider 18 millimeter, what that allows you to do is you can hold the camera with like a grip like this that Sony makes, and it's wireless, it works off Bluetooth, it's really good. It's pretty expensive, but it really does work great. And when you hold this grip out in front of you, if you're walking, you can enable active stabilization mode. And when you enable active stabilization, it actually crops in a little bit, so you lose some of that wide angle lens. And that was kind of a problem with the ZV-1 if you were trying to walk and hand hold. It cropped in so tight that it just wasn't really wide enough and your face was like taking up the whole screen. But now with 18 millimeter, you turn active on, it crops in a little bit to like, I don't know, an effective 20 millimeter, 22 millimeter, something like that. But it's still more than wide enough to get your face and like your friend in there if you're walking on the trail or something like that. And somehow they managed to get it in the same exact form factor, which is pretty remarkable engineering wise. Now, in addition to the lens being much wider on the wide end, we also have a really good minimum focus distance of 5 centimeters or about 2 inches at 18 millimeter. And here's what that looks like. As you can see here, the minimum focus distance is unbelievable. All right, so going over this camera a little bit, looking at it from the top, this is what it looks like. Now, a couple of things did change from the ZV-1. This button here in particular now has like little symbols for the different modes, so that's just a little bit different. Also, the mic is now an intelligent 3-directional mic, so you can actually have the direction go towards the front, towards the back, or have it like everywhere, or just have it in auto, and it'll intelligently decide if you're in front of the camera or in back of the camera. Like, it figures that out for you. And that's a nice improvement that's welcomed. It also comes with this little wind diffuser here, and that just slides on over into the hot shoe like so. So we got the on and off button, of course, record button. We have the background defocus feature button right here, same as the ZV-1. So you can just press this button and it'll put the max aperture on the lens, giving you the most blurry background possible or the most sharp background possible. Now, if you look at it from the front, we have this grip here. We have the AF illuminator light. Looking at it from the side, I just wanted to show you this because this is a huge upgrade in my opinion. What we have is a USB-C charging port there. Now, it's also PD power port. So what that means is you can power the camera from this port and it won't like die on you. It'll just run indefinitely powered from this port if you have a proper power supply. And also, the USB-C port is faster, so it'll transfer faster than the slower micro USB ports. In addition to that, this port is set up for a web camera. So if you just plug a USB-C cable into this and plug it into your computer, it'll automatically pop up as a web camera, which is awesome. All right, so I'm gonna give Jace a call real quick on FaceTime here and I'll show you how it works. I can't see you, buddy. Oh, there he is. All right, so check it out. I have my my laptop camera selected still, Jace, so I'm just going to change the video. So let's see if you could see the difference. This is my crappy laptop camera. Now.
That looks so much better. Like, you can see like all the shine and stuff.
Way more detail, right? So now I could also change the audio here. You could see microphone, and that is also set to the ZV-1 Mark II. So you're gonna get the better quality audio as well. All right, buddy. I appreciate your help. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, bye-bye. So the web camera is at 720p, 30 frames per second, and it's pretty good quality. You know, it's not 4K or 1080, unfortunately, but 720 for webcam is pretty good. And you have a really high quality sensor on here, so the image quality is going to look way better than a laptop, you know, webcam, for example. And another key feature when using this as a webcam is the computer will charge the camera, so you don't have to worry about using a dummy battery. I tested this on my MacBook Pro the other day, and I had FaceTime open, and it was running for over 2 hours in streaming mode or like webcam mode. And the camera did get warm, but the battery never went down, and it just kept plugging away. So that's a really, really nice upgrade. Now looking at it from the back, it looks very similar to the original ZV-1, except we do have a slight different grip here. The thumb grip is definitely different. And down here on the garbage can, we have the product showcase button. So another key upgrade to the ZV-1 Mark II is where they moved the quarter thread here for the tripod plate. Now, because they moved that, you could now open the door while you have a tripod plate mounted, or this camera grip, for example. So if I had this camera grip mounted, you could see how I could still open the door to access the memory card or the battery port. Really welcomed improvement there. So for the 3 modes on this camera, we have photo mode, and it's a 20 megapixel, you know, X more R stacked sensor. So the image quality is fantastic on this camera. You have Zeiss optics, and then you have the highest quality 1-inch sensor pretty much that's out there. It's stacked. What's important to keep in mind is the size of this thing. So just for scale, here's a deck of cards, and you can just see the size of this camera, how small this is. Let's look at it, the deck of cards this way. So you can definitely fit this in your pocket, no problem. So again, because this thing is so small and lightweight, it only weighs like 290 grams, approximately 11 ounces. And it's like very low burden, so super low friction. Like if you're going out somewhere, there's absolutely no reason to not bring this camera, because you could just put it in your pocket or whatever, and it's like very low burden. Now, a larger camera like the A7 IV or something like that, much heavier, much larger. It's like a commitment to bring it, you know, especially if you're going on a hike or something like that. Now, also, when you're filming yourself holding the camera out like this, your arm gets tired, you know, like your shoulder starts to burn, especially if you're holding a heavy camera. Now, on the back, of course, we have the flip screen here, and when you open this screen, it will turn on by default once you have the camera set up and stuff. There is a setup process, so be sure to come back for that quick start guide if you want to see that. But just looking at the user interface here, notice all the different buttons on the touch screen now. They basically turned this into more like a smartphone when you're controlling it. So you could now just touch around the screen and change a lot of the key settings. All right, so as far as this touch interface goes, I just wanted to show you real quick how you could swipe around. So if you swipe left and right, it'll take away like these buttons on the side if you just swipe off the edge like that. And then if you swipe up from the bottom, it'll bring up the function menu. So you can just press the function menu button, or you could swipe up. And some of these new key settings we have here are CineVlog. Now, CineVlog is like a turnkey cinematic look. It actually crops the image down into a cinescope ratio, and it looks awesome. And it has like variable looks to it. So for example, if I click here on CineVlog, you can see here we have classic, gold, and there's just different options here. If you click on it, you have different options. You could see here, you got clean, you got chick, fresh, and monochrome. All right, so I got CineVlog on, and it is set to classic mode. So I'm just gonna change it from classic mode to clean. And then here's chick, here's fresh, here's mono. I've been using classic, gold, but they also have ocean and forest. So forest I used here when I was playing on the Kodiak Quad. So here's some footage using forest and this cool cinescope mode. So I'm just gonna hit CineVlog, and I have it set to classic forest. That is what I'm gonna use for this segment. So this segment's going to be called, Can You Stop the Kodiak? And I question you, can you stop the Kodiak? I haven't been able to stop it yet. So we're going to go out there and find out. Well, that definitely didn't stop the Kodiak. Hard to tell how deep it is. It doesn't really look that deep, maybe like a foot or so. I don't think this is going to be a problem at all. Let's find out. All right, so clearly that did not stop the Kodiak. However, I am soaked top to bottom, soaking wet. Nothing stops it. Nothing stops the Kodiak. It's incredible. Now also, this touch interface is so simple because if you flip it around and you're using the camera in selfie mode, you could see here how now you have access to everything. So for example, if I want to change the focus transition speed, you see that button right there with the little M on it, I can hit that. But also notice if you touch around the screen, it enables touch focus or touch tracking by default. So that is one thing that I do find is a little cumbersome when you're pointing around. You have to hit these buttons like perfectly. But if you do touch somewhere, to cancel touch tracking, all you have to do is hit this little button on the top, and that will cancel touch tracking for you. Like so. You can hit that X to get out of the CineVlog area. I'm going to go back into CineVlog. And now if I hit AFMF here, you could now change the autofocus speed here. See how you have high, mid, and low? So you can change your autofocus speed transition when recording video. So that's a really nice feature, and it's super easy to get to, like I said, on this touchscreen. Also, on this touchscreen, guys, you have skin smoothing right here. It's set to medium by default, but you could turn it off or set it to low or high. It's great for making your skin look a little smoother. It really does make me look a little younger. I could see like under my eyes when I have the skin smoothing feature on. It definitely like gets rid of these like bags under my eyes a little bit. It like softens it, you know? So it does help. Because I'm on wheels, I don't really need any stabilization, so I have stabilization turned off completely. So this way you can see just how wide, you know, that 18mm is. It's a lot. You can see just, it's really wide. And in CineVlog mode with that CineScope crop, it just, it looks really cool. The downside of this 9-bot is it only goes like 7 miles an hour. It sucks. I want to go so much faster, but it won't let me. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal, you know. Let me zoom this out a little bit. I'm at 30mm. Put this sucker back to 18. All right, there we go. Now I'm back at 18mm. Again, just see how wide. I'm gonna put it on shutter priority mode, and then I'm gonna slow down the shutter speed to probably like 1/15 of a second, I'm thinking. And I'll try to stay still, and the leaves and everything should get blurry, so let's try that. There we go, that's working. It's a pretty cool effect when you can slow the shutter down. So if I was able to get this thing to go faster, it would look so much cooler. But I still think this looks cool. Now, what we also have here that's new on this interface is we have a self-timer for video, so you can turn self-timer on and off. We also have the mic options, which I talked about before, and you can see here when you tap the button, it will change from different modes. So that's behind the camera, that's auto, that's in front of the camera, for example. Now down here, we have creative settings. You can see here on the bottom, these are the options. So you can go in there and you can change the brightness and darkness. You can go in here and you can change the color from warm to cool. So if you want a warmer look, you can actually go in there and dial it. And this is in full auto mode, guys. So this is like serious power in full auto with like the camera doing all the thinking for you. This is like giving you the ability to manipulate the results without having to really know much about like color temperatures and all these other things. You can just go in here and play with this stuff and get the look that you're going for, and then just hit record and start recording. And then, of course, you have this auto option here, which is the creative look. And there's all these different creative looks. If you scroll through, you got standard, portrait, neutral, vivid, and there's a bunch more there that you can play with. Or you can just hit the auto button here. And then if you just tap on like the middle of the screen, it'll go back to the main screen here. So that's how that works. And notice how it says that the creative look is on right there on the bottom. So if I tap that again, it'll turn off, and it's just warning me with this menu. I'm going to click OK. So now you can see it says off there. And that's how this interface works. You just touch around. So again, I'm in full auto mode, but if I touch the top left button, this will give you your different shoot modes. And you have all these different shoot modes. You have program auto, you got aperture priority, shutter priority, and then of course you have full-fledged manual mode. So that's what that option is. And then over here you have the product showcase button. So you have it on the screen, and then you also have it on the back of the camera, so you have two different ways to get to these features. And Product Showcase will turn off facial recognition. So if you hold something up in front of the camera, it will focus on that. If you have facial recognition on, it'll always prioritize a face. So you have to like cover your face in order to get the focus to change if you have facial recognition on. So Sony made it super easy by just having a button to turn that on and off real easy. Now, you also have the option here to zoom. So if you hit that zoom button, it has these presets in there, and you can just tap these presets and it'll give you like a default zoom, which is quite nice, and it's just easy to use sometimes depending on what you're doing. If you just want a quick, zoom change. So that's what that does, and you can just X that out like so. All right, so in addition to this new interface, which is awesome, you have the FN button here, which is the function menu, and you can go in here, and this is where a bunch of other options will be, such as autofocus area, subject detect, because the ZV-1 Mark II has humans and animals in there, so you can pick which one you want, which is quite nice. And then you have your audio settings, and this will change depending on what mode you're in, the function menu. So because I'm in video mode right now, that's why it looks like that. So watch when I hit the mode button here. So now I am in S&Q mode, as you could see up here. And these are the different S&Q modes, so you can change what mode you're in within S&Q mode. So if I hit the mode button one more time and put it into photography mode, you can now see how the interface changed to cater more towards photography. For example, up here I have high, it says high, so that is the drive mode, and this camera can do 24 frames per second, and it has a huge buffer. So as you can see here, I was taking pictures of Jace. He was like whipping around this towel, and I just took like 150, 200 shots in a row in JPEG mode. It was awesome. And it almost looks like a video when you scroll through. And that's what you can get up here in the drive mode area. This is where self-timer is and stuff. So anyways, I just wanted to show you that quickly, how this interface changes. Also note on the screen you have the record button, which is available in both photo and video mode. But up here there's another button now, which acts as the shutter. So if you press that, it will take the photo. But I'm aimed at the desk right now, so it's not, has nothing to focus on, you know what I mean? All right, so now let me just go into the function menu one more time. And because we're in photo mode, you could see how the function menu changed. And you can configure this function menu for both photo and video, so you can customize these settings to your heart's content, which is really cool. And there's a lot of stuff that you can put in here depending on what your use case is. So now let me just go into the menu here, the menu, and let me show you a couple of things here. So we have this new menu system, and it's called main. If I go over to the left here, you could see how we have this like awesome categorical menu breakdown. And if you go up to the top, we have this new area, which I absolutely love. The new cameras are all coming out with this new menu area. and it's great. It has like all the key settings that you would need in one spot, and you can just touch to access it and change your settings. So in photography mode, it's only one page, but in video mode, it's 2 pages. Watch this. If I change the mode to video mode, and now I hit menu, notice how it's now 2 pages. So I have all the different options here for video, and then if I scroll down, here's the second page. So it's just great, you know, it's so much easier to find the key settings that you need. So I'm a huge fan of this new menu system for sure. And because I'm in full auto mode, I am limited to some of these options, like picture profile, for example. If you want to shoot an S-Log for those more advanced users, you could do that. If you go in here, here's where your 4K settings are. So I have it set to 4K. And then if you go up to the top, this is your frame rate. So you have 24 and 30, so forth. And then if I change this to HD and go up here to frame rates, you have 120, 24, 30, and 60 are your options there. So now if I go down here to main 2, you can see up there on the top right is the actual mode within video mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to program auto video mode. And now I'm going to click OK. Now when I go into the menu, and you can see here even there's more options to choose from. And if I hit the function menu, there's more stuff here that's not grayed out, like white balance, for example. Now if I go into the menu, again, notice how we have a bunch of different options here. And now you can see picture profile is not grayed out. So you can click on that. So I recommend using S-Log2. And if you go in here to PP7, this is S-Log2 S-Gamut. And that'll get you a higher dynamic range than the default video modes. But I would definitely recommend playing with the CineVlog settings because they look so cool. In my opinion, it's like a turnkey and it just looks awesome coming right off the camera. So I would definitely check that out as well. So the ZV-1 Mark II also has the built-in ND filter, which is really nice. That'll help you in those bright conditions when you want to keep your shutter speed a little slower. So it can help you get motion blur, or it can just help you get a more accurate frame rate when you're recording video. So that's a really nice feature to have the ND filter built in. And the original ZV-1 had that as well. So the ZV-1 Mark II also has facial priority auto exposure, and it works really well. It just will help maintain exposure if your face like gets into a dark area. You know, it'll raise the exposure of the camera to prioritize your face. And that's pretty cool. You could see an example of that here when I'm walking under the bridge. So I'm going to go under the bridge and into the shade. So let's see how the auto exposure works when my face gets dark in a second here. All right, here we go. Looks like it did a really good job. Spin around, get a little bit better light on my face aiming this way. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. So now this also works with the new Creator app, and I created a tutorial on the new Creator app. If you want to check that out, that's available. I'll have that linked below. So looking at it with the wind diffuser here, this is what it looks like. Pretty sweet. All right, guys, I'm just going to show you some sample photos and some sample video that I got with this ultra compact vlogging oriented style camera. So let's do that. All right, guys, it seemed clear that the Kodiak cannot be stopped. Now that is to be continued. There's more obstacles I need to find, but as of now, it's unstoppable. So I'm starving after that ride. So let's go to Big Kev's barbecue and get some killer barbecue, shall we? Pretty sweet operation they got going here. So this is what you can expect at Big Kev's barbecue. Now, we got some nachos here, which you can see look absolutely killer. Side profile. Hey guys, I'm over at this cool bridge in Livingston Manor. Check this out. This is like the sign that shows you all the stuff. So I'm at the covered bridge on the top right. You can see it right there. But there's this, you know, a bunch of cool stuff in this area here. Sullivan County Parks. I'm just gonna walk over to this bridge and show you what this bridge is all about, because this is the reason why this bridge matters to me, is because when I first got into photography and I got a real camera, like I got a DSLR and I got a wide angle lens, I got the Sigma 10 to 20 millimeter, and I came to this bridge and I took a couple of shots. I'll show you a few of these shots, and they were some of the best shots I ever got, like up until that, you know, period of time. So this place, like, in, you know, just it like put a memory in my mind, and I just have like a special place for this, you know, in my heart, I guess. But anyways, check this out. It's a really cool covered bridge. All right, so that path wasn't really the greatest, but check it out, it was worth it. Look at this view. So there is the covered bridge. So I'm just gonna take some photos, see what I can get of this beast, and I'll show you the results. What's the trick that you wanted to do?
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it. Oh, that was good. All right, guys, that about wraps up this quick video going over the new ZV-1 Mark II, in particular the new features that are exciting to me. So I hope you got something out of this video, and if you want to learn how to use this camera, be sure to come back, be sure to subscribe. I'm going to have the quick start guide coming out, then the beginner's guide, and I'm probably going to make a couple other videos on this camera. So I appreciate you checking out my video, and I will catch up with you next time. Take care.